Welcome to another episode of Wisdom on the Front Porch. And today on the Front Porch, we have Cathy Nespa with us. Thank you for being here, Cathy.
Thank you for having me, Ellis. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, this is so good. So, Cathy, tell our audience just a little bit about you.
Well, my working title is Cathy Crawley Laughing Bean Queen. I offer simple solutions for today's challenges. Worms for amending the soil, worms in the house, sprouts for eating, and laughter for overall health and wellness. I'm a
There you
juggler.
go. Oh, we've got to be. We've got to be. I think it's, I just can't do one thing. Got to do
I think the
several.
variety, as they say, the variety is the spice of life, and I think that's the truth. But not multitasking. I think we trick ourselves into thinking we can multitask, but doing one thing at a time is
Oh,
it's more
so much better.
peaceful. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's more peaceful. We're more focused. I am. I can't speak for
Yeah.
others, but
Yeah.
it's so
It's
beautiful.
it's one thing being a mom where you're multitasking because you've got the baby and you've got the diaper bag and you've got this and you've got that and the water boiling, the laundry and stuff. We kind of do that. But I think once we get down into business, if we've got so many things going on, we're not really accomplishing anything in one area. And it's going way too slow. So I've had to really focus on one or two things. Okay, so I have three things going but I've narrowed it down to those, put it that way,
Yeah,
because like I've got the giving book. We're in volume 4 right now, going to have it out in time for Thanksgiving. Yeah, I'm
wow.
excited about it.
Oh,
And I've got
wonderful.
more submissions coming in, and it's like, this is pretty good. Each one is so different because people just bring so much of their own heart into it. But yeah, trying to get too many things done. I would not be able to have the time dedicated to do that, to do the podcast and honor guests like you. My speaking has always been difficult. So yeah, and it's you need to take the time to give yourself time just for yourself. What do you
It's
do for
permission.
self-care? Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And it's okay to take some time for yourself. You need to do that. And it helps you just get all the cobwebs out, get all of that noise out and just relax. And when you get back into things, the next day or 4 or 6 hours later, it's like, wow, now I know what I need to do. I know that path.
That's it.
So let's talk about you though. What is this worm thing you're talking about?
Well, it's the 22nd anniversary of Cathy's Crawley Composters, selling
Awesome.
worms by the pound for indoor composting. So for a little bit of context of why I even started this business, I'm located in Canada, just north of Toronto, largest city in Canada. And in 2002, our landfill closed, and we started
Oh,
to, right? I know now. Oh, now what? So Canada's second largest country in the world. And although we're a large country, we couldn't find a place to site a new landfill. So we
oh,
started to
wow.
export our garbage to the US.
Oh, thank
Sorry,
you.
I know. Um, and I had a solution. So 6 million people in the Greater Toronto area, half live in condos, townhouses, spaces without the ability to do outdoor composting. And so
Mm.
this is indoor composting. Worms for composting your food scraps and paper in a container. And then the worms transform that into black gold. They're the original alchemists.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we can grow more nutrient-rich food. It's really huge. So that's the worm thing, 22 years, and it's so beautiful, Ellis. That's why I was put on earth, was
That's
to do
awesome.
that. Yes,
Yeah.
and that, I've realized at the beginning I would have a table and I'd be trying to let people know you need this. This is so great. Here's a solution. Without any business background, I didn't know what I was doing. I just was called to do this. And I realized that people don't buy what they need. They buy what they want, and they didn't want
Yes.
what I had. They
Yeah.
didn't want it, and I wasn't listening. But I realized, okay, what am I going to do? I have to do something. And I started to do workshops. And
Okay.
over 75,000 students have seen my presentation.
Wow.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. It's
Yeah.
such an
So how did
honor.
you get started in that?
I don't, it's hard to remember 22 years in, when it just is. Yeah, well, I took a business course
Okay.
on writing a business plan. That was the first step. And then I started to exhibit. And when I realized people didn't want what I had, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? I had a lot of teacher friends, and I was like, oh, I could set them up in their classroom with a worm bin, and it just went
Oh,
from
that's
there.
brilliant. Yeah, give something that they can see right there. Because I know one thing people are going to ask, ooh, worms, it's yucky, it's dirty, it's smelly. Is that true?
It's all what we think, right? That's the challenge. So that's why I needed to take on school children because they don't have that preconception.
Right, right.
Right? It's our right now we just throw it away. Like, where's away? There's no away. We are all
Yeah,
one.
it goes
So
somewhere.
it's somewhere. If it's not our backyard, it's someone else's. Um,
Yeah.
right, and that's the truth. But we put it at the curb or wherever we put it, and it's gone. It's not our problem, right? And this is a way, it's really, really huge. I make light of it because worms are creepy and icky. And the word worm, words have an energy. And the very word worm is creepy, like, parasites or a
Yeah.
computer virus, can of worms. Now you've done it. I always go, yay, can of worms. Oh, sorry, I know it's not good. I'm trying to change it. Right? So there's a lot of things attached to this, and we're often looking for the quick fix. We don't want
Yes.
to do the work. We need to do the work, and the world is showing us now, and I think 2020 and since that time
Mhm.
showed us that we needed to be more self-reliant. We
Oh,
needed to go
yes.
back to the old ways. We needed to relearn what we knew before. We did know this. We had this information. Worms weren't gross. I mean, they weren't necessarily in the house. So let me talk about how it works. You asked me a question some time ago. It's in a
Okay.
container. Which is perfect. They're not free range worms. They're not running around the house, right? They're in a bin. It's a carbon nitrogen mix for anyone that knows about composting. It's carbon nitrogen. So the carbon is your shredded paper, leaves, straw paper, cardboard. And the nitrogen is your food scraps, your coffee grounds, your vegetable peels.
Oh,
If
really?
you have,
Coffee grounds, because I'd heard before that that was not good for worms.
in moderation, just like us.
Yes.
It's acidic, so it does, you balance the acidity with eggshells, and you can put the coffee grounds right outside, like for your acid-loving plants, rosemary,
Yes. There you
azalea.
go.
So, there's ways to manage, and they don't really need to be composted. That's true. Anyway, but just saying what you could put in. And it's aerobic process, meaning with oxygen. So it
Mhm.
doesn't smell like rotting food.
Yeah.
It's a whole ecosystem, which why teaching it to the children was so wonderful and is so wonderful because it's something they can see that we can experience it firsthand,
Hmm.
all these players. And we happen to have a digital imager, so we got nice English. We have video footage of a worm, of all not all, some of the players in a worm bin on a microscopic level, like springtails and mites. And
Oh,
these words
wow.
sound creepy. Yeah, it's so beautiful. And a worm
Yeah.
egg and a worm inside a worm egg. I have no idea how my husband got this footage. It's so
Oh,
beautiful. It's so like they're 30 seconds, these videos, but they're so amazing. And he happened to capture the end of a worm. And how I set this up in my workshops is we got video footage of a worm and we don't know what end it is. And
oh,
then, and then so the kids are leaning in. It's like, oh, it's so exciting. And you can see the muscles contracting, like it's beautiful. And then the worm poops.
oh.
And then it's like this beautiful little log comes out because it's magnified. And the kids are like looking really close and then they go, ew. And then they're like, oh, can we see it again? Right? It's fascinating. Like it's
Yeah.
gross and it's whatever, but
Nature is great.
it's
Yeah.
fascinating. It's so beautiful. Oh, nice loopy thing. Um,
That's okay.
um, Yeah, so beautiful, and it's really magic, and the students get to experience the worms. If they get the worms at the beginning of the school year, they get to experience setting up the worm bin. That's what we do during the workshop. They set it up, the students do set up the bedding after I've done the presentation, and the grand finale is adding the worms in, and they get to hold them and experience them.
Oh, wow.
And get not maybe not attached to them, but just start to, oh wow, and they have 5 hearts each.
Isn't
Each
that
worm has five
amazing?
hearts. It's like like and again, words have energy. So heart is such a loving word. And so, the kids will say, why do they have 5 hearts? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I just say, years ago, millions of years ago, when they were giving out all the body parts, they had this mountain of worms, and they're like, "What are we gonna, or hearts? What are we gonna do with all those hearts?" So they said the worms are going to be needed later on. So let's give some extra love to the worms. And it's so beautiful. It's like a nice story. And anyway, I don't know why they there must be some reason, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's so beautiful. The kids get attached. So then the next time on a rainy day, they're able to help the worm back to the grass. If they're on the driveway and they're going the wrong way and they dry
Oh,
out,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now they're not afraid of them. And that's what I say at the end of my session. And if you see a worm after a rainy day, you can help it back to the grass. That's all it needs, you know?
Isn't that something?
It's
Wow.
magic. It's really
Yeah,
magic. And I'm going into this detail because I know your audience and you are readers, and the learning part is so beautiful because once we learn something, we know it, and then
yeah.
we can share it with others. And I've had the privilege, because it's been 22 years and all of those students. I usually get, like, grade 3 is the beautiful sweet spot because they're learning about soil, they're learning about habitats. And I've had the privilege of meeting people that I was in their grade 3 class, and they'll come up to me and they'll say, Cathy, I came to your, because I was still exhibiting up to 2020.
Oh, nice.
They'll come up to me and say, Cathy, you were in my grade 3 class. Because of you or because of worms, I took environmental studies and now I'm an environmental lawyer.
Wow.
Wow. Oh my
Isn't that
gosh.
amazing? Yeah, you never
Woo.
know whose life you're going to touch.
Right? We're making an
Yeah.
impact every day. We all are, but we don't
Yes.
always know what we've done.
Yeah. Yeah. And as frustrated as we can get as entrepreneurs,
Mm,
it's like you keep going because of that very thing. You don't know who you're going to impact and how they're going to impact the rest of the world. Um, yeah. So you brought up some great things. I know the when I left being in the city, um, for a few years and went to live on a farm, it's like I asked my neighbors because I know they didn't have a trash receptacle outside, and I did because that's just what you do, right? And I says, well, what do you do with all your trash? And so they told me of the different ways that they processed it, and it's like, why aren't I doing that? And it was so easy of what you can do with what you have.
mm,
And I think there is more trash now than there used to be because everything is individually wrapped. Everything is like super cautious, no germs and all of this. And so we do have more of that. But what can you do with it? What are some things you can do with it? And there isn't as much recycling as there used to be because it's not profitable like it used to be. So now what happens to it? And I got to thinking about, my husband is always getting those big round rolls of towels, paper towels, and of course, he wants to use them, so I get them too, and I use them. But I'm thinking, well, we didn't have paper towels all that much when I was a kid. So what did we use? This is really going to date me. I remember when handy wipes came out, and they were like this real thin cloth that you could use 3 or 4 times. And by then it'd probably start falling apart, and then you toss it away because otherwise you had these big rags, the
hmm
unused or the washcloths that had too many holes in them or these other things, and always wiping it and cleaning it. And with the paper towels, you just take them, wipe them, and toss them. And it was nice. But what do we do now? When there's shortage of paper items because everybody was hoarding them. It's like, how do you really take care of things? How do you keep things clean? And if we go back to thinking how many generations upon generations did not have the conveniences that we have, what did they do? And are we really so much better off with what we have? There's just things to think about. I'm not going to debate anybody on it because everybody has their own opinion, and it's okay. That's good. We need to talk about our opinions. But I love that you've brought another element into it, and you're teaching the kids about it, about what's good. How many kids are being raised on electronics and not knowing the world without electronics, without digital things, without phones, without iPads, without all of that. And I think we're doing them a disservice by not letting them know what the world is like without them. How are they going to take care of themselves? You brought that out earlier. And that's a really good point. A lot of people did start searching for ways to go back to basics. My in my family, my daughter's family has aquariums because they want to do hydroponics and all of this. But their aquariums, they learn from watching YouTube videos how to be self-sufficient.
Mm.
So even though they have plants and stuff growing in there, they don't have to worry about it smelling. They don't have to worry about it not taking care of itself. And it's because of how they set it up with, like you said, all the little critters that live in there and
Mhm.
that stay in there and that are happy there doing what they're supposed to be doing. So
It's a
that's
whole
really cool.
ecosystem. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And it's just amazing to go over there and it's beautiful. I mean, it
Mm.
just looks beautiful. Um, but but as entrepreneurs, I think that's something we need to look at is always changing what's going on in our environment around us. What can we do with what we're doing to, like you said, maybe people don't want it, or maybe they need it. They don't know that they want it or that they need it. We have to either
Yeah.
open their eyes to it or, like you said, listen to what they're saying. Why are they not going for this particular thing, or why are they going for that when this is so much better? And it's finding a way to present it to them.
It's marketing.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
marketed to. And we're always
yeah.
looking for the convenience, and marketing shows us that we're not enough. Like we need this thing, and that look at those people. They look so happy in that commercial. And we need all these things. So we, not that we're dumb, but the more we consume that stuff, the more we become consumers.
Oh,
They don't even
yeah,
call us people, we're called consumers.
yeah, yep,
Right? It's all by design and not to, but you talked about electronics, the kids being on electronics. There's a book, Last Child in the Woods from 2008. So before all the smart stuff.
yeah.
And there was Last Child in the Woods. He coined a phrase, nature deficit disorder. Richard
Oh,
Louv. He won an Audubon Award for that book. And in that book, there's a quote from a child in grade 4 that says, I'd rather play inside than outside because that's where the electrical outlets are.
oh, that's so
Yikes.
sad.
Yikes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
real.
and I have a good example for that. When we were living in one place when the kids were young, we didn't have a TV. Didn't want a TV. TV channels weren't that good anyways because we were
Right.
too far away from everything. And there was no cable or any of that available. And so, the kids found lots of ways to entertain themselves. Some friends of theirs came over and said, "Where's your TV?" And they go, "Well, we don't have one." "Well, what do you do then?" And my
Yeah.
kids are like, "Oh, we play and we go do this and we go do that." And they go, "You do?" And by the time those kids were ready to go home, they were having so much fun.
Mhm.
And then my sister thought it was just the horrible thing in the world that we didn't have a television. And within 1 month, because one day the weather was bad, there was nothing on TV, so we turned it off. 1 month, my kids were like, "Well, now what do we do?" And I'm like, "Are you
Wow.
kidding me? It's only been a month.
Yeah.
That's horrible." So
They're
we're
designed though
limited.
to make us,
Yeah.
with our eyeballs on them. And now with social
Yeah.
media and all the platforms, it's
Oh,
even
yeah.
more now. Yeah, it's a fascinating time that we're in, because we have all these conveniences. It's so great. Like, thank goodness, I never would have met you, LS,
Oh, I know. I
right?
know.
I
And we've
mean,
met several times. Like you were
right?
saying, we
We've
met at Diamond
overwoven.
Beauties. We met, what was the other one I said? You said,
Dun
there it
dun
is, The
dun.
Art of Connection. Yes, yes, we're both in that book. Now they've got the next one coming out, and we're
Right?
here. And it's right. I did limit the time that the kids would spend on the TV because I didn't want them to forget how to be kids, to just go have fun and enjoy themselves. And we love these conveniences, but we need to moderate our own selves with it. Um,
Well, it has really reduced conversation. Like, how often are you? I don't have a cell phone, so full disclosure, I'm still one of those rare holdouts. I have technology, clearly I have a computer, because
yeah,
people are like, oh, how do you function? Well, I do. I'm fine. How often have you been with somebody or in a group and you're having a conversation about a movie? Who was that actor in the movie? I don't know. What was that guy? He had a mustache. Remember he was dating that woman? Oh, the guy. And then someone pulls out their phone and then they're like, oh, it was Harrison Ford
yeah,
or what, whoever. And you're like, okay, next topic. Like, okay.
yeah,
Like there's no, like, who cares who it was? It's not relevant. It's just a discussion. It's just a thing.
yeah,
But it ends so quickly when people, oh, Siri, who was, or asking the little nesty thing, like, no,
yeah.
don't be in, I don't, no, I don't want one of those in my house either.
We had
I
one for a
just,
while, and it just kept going off all the time. It's like, I don't want this any.
no,
No, we're not listening to your conversations. And why did you answer? You know?
yeah, it's kind of, anyway, never mind. That's another
Yeah,
whole topic. But it's
it
another
it just
distraction. It's kind of another way to keep us engaged. It just feels like there's all
yeah
these
to
ways
keep us consumers
we,
instead of
right? We need to
engaging
just
with
be
each other,
present.
instead of inventing all of these amazing things.
That's
Entrepreneurship
where the
great
worms
because
come
they're always
in.
coming out. Yeah,
Unless that's where the worms come in, because when we're in the worms, we're not on our thing because our thing would get dirty if we were,
yeah,
like feeding the worms, chopping the food, and then harvesting the worms, separating the worms from the compost
yeah.
and using that compost in the garden. Then you
Oh
grow your
yeah.
own food. What? Now it's nutrient rich, it's delicious. You grew it, it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's where our food comes from, is
Right?
grown
It's
in
the 10
soil.
step diet.
There you go.
Right? Because in North America, we've destroyed the soil. So this is a way for us to get, like, we're sicker than ever. Like in North
Oh
America, we're
yeah.
so sick because of our food is broken. So the worms are playing this huge role. And once we go back to that, right, they don't have hands, so they can't be on technology. It's just so natural. I think that the worms are such a basic thing. But now, if we could talk about the laughter, because that's kind of the second piece.
Yeah,
There's
definitely.
the sprouts in there too, but the laughter came about when I was 10 years into my worm business, 2012. One more person said, "Ooh, worms in the house. Ew, worms in the house." And I felt it, I heard it, I questioned everything. I wasn't listening before. I'd heard it hundreds of times, but I was like, no, no, you need this. Yeah, I need it, but I don't want it.
Yeah.
Right? So then I was like, oh my gosh, universe, what do you want? I've tried for 10 years. Maybe I should get a job. This is hard.
Yeah.
And
What is
I
it?
act fast. And then the very next day, I was introduced to laughter yoga.
Wasn't
And
that fun?
right? And it's not doing yoga and laughing. It's laughing as an exercise, like even funner
Yes.
than doing yoga and laughing. It's just laughing. And I was like, oh, wow, what is that? That's fun. And I love laughing. And then that same week, I mean, I'm all about serendipity and coincidence because there's no such thing. It's a sign.
Yeah.
That same week at a networking event, hundreds of people. The very first woman I met was a laughter yoga teacher. And I was
Awesome.
like,
Yeah.
I said to her,
Bingo.
well, laughter yoga's mainstream. And she said, no, it isn't. And we trooped around and I asked everybody, have you heard of laughter yoga? Have you? Have you? Nobody had.
Oh
And then I
wow.
started to go to laughter yoga and I loved it. I got trained as a leader. Then I loved that so much. I got trained as a teacher. So now I teach leaders. And I was appointed laughter ambassador in 2017. And it's really taken over my life. And so I've been laughing since 2012, really laughing since 2020. I think in 2012, I mean, this is true. I would go once a month with my mother-in-law. It was our date night. It was really fun, but it was once. Like, not that I didn't laugh for the whole month, once a month,
Yeah.
but I didn't take it serious. And then 2020, um, yeah, when we're shut down, I stopped doing my worm things. I was out there before 2020 doing all these things, like everybody. Um, and then I started my laughter club, and I took a deep dive into the expression laughter is the best medicine.
Oh,
Like I was like, what does that
absolutely.
mean? What
Yeah.
is that? Um, and it's true. Everybody says it, Ellis. Everybody in the world that I've met, I haven't met
Well,
anybody
and everybody,
anywhere.
if they try it, they know because you cannot feel horrible if you're laughing.
It's the truth, right? We're secreting the love drugs, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins
Yeah.
versus cortisol and adrenaline.
Oh,
And we're
yeah.
breathing fully, like we're fully oxygenated when we're laughing, because we're out exhaling, ha ha ha. We have to inhale to keep on ha haing. It's really simple. And, there's about 50 years of research showing that laughter is good for our health in all
Oh,
different
yes.
situations. People going through cancer, um, dialysis, people, inmates, people, addicts, all different areas, research. So if that's the truth, and it is, why is it so challenging for us to achieve abundant, reliable, sustainable laughter for our health? The critical mind, that's right.
Yeah.
It gets right.
There you
When we
go.
hear a joke or something funny, it goes through filters like, is this funny? Oh, I've heard this joke before. Is it appropriate to laugh with these people? What will they think? So all of these things, and when it's finally approved that yes, this is funny, it's conditional.
Isn't that
Laughter yoga,
something?
right? Laughter yoga bypasses the critical mind. It's getting out of our head and into our body, laughing as an exercise. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Not jokes or comedy, because that's the frontal lobe.
Right.
Just laughing. It's the universal language. That's why it's so beautiful. Um, so we're laughing, we're oxygenating our body, secreting the love drugs, connecting on a deeper level, because you do it in a group. And there's little games. So it's not like it's not yoga, but we're not doing yoga. So
Right.
little
Right.
stretches, deep diaphragmatic breathing and just gentle movement. And it's so beautiful. It's changed my life.
Oh, yeah. The first time I'd ever heard about it was on my very first summit. And it was the spiritual gentleman. If you can go to spiritualgentleman.com,
Mm,
and he was talking about laughter yoga and just take time to sit up and just start laughing. Do little laughs, do big hearty laughs. And it's like everybody was just feeling so good after his talk. We'd already heard a few people talk, and he was towards the end of the talk, and it was just like it just made it one of the most beautiful summits I've ever been on, that I've ever
mm.
hosted. And it was great. Everybody had high energy, and we were raring, and we were going, and what a difference it made. What a difference it made. So for our audience that's looking now, and for those that are going to see the replay and watch it again, give us a little demonstration.
Yeah, wonderful. I'd love to. So there's a little, so in laughter yoga, we're clapping palm to palm. There's like a little bit of clapping, and that gives us something to do with our hands. For those that are
There you go.
logical and in their head, this gives them like now it's something to do. It's not like just laugh for nothing. Okay, laugh. Like for some people, it's like, ah, ha, ha, no problem. But for others, right? Okay, so laughing, clapping palm to palm, because we're activating meridians. The rhythm is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and the words are ho ho ha 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 ho
Ho,
ho ha
ho,
ha
ha,
ha ho ho ha ha
ha,
ha
ha, ha,
ho ho ha
ho,
ha
ha,
ha.
ha, ha.
Then we say very good, yay!
Hey.
And whenever we have our hands over our head, we can't be sad. Like, oh, I'm so
Yeah.
sad. No, no,
Yeah.
it doesn't go.
Yeah. And it really opens up everything too, and gives you that stretch, because we sit hunched like this so much.
We
We need
do.
to just open up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's another one. So there's a new product on the market. It's talking about consumerism. It's called Laughter Cream.
Oh,
How fun. And today it's going to come in a big jar. So it's just a big jar. So just open your jar of Laughter Cream. Everything's imagination is fine. And so just put the lid aside. And so you got your big, beautiful jar. Maybe just set it down and just take a big glom of your Laughter Cream. It's free, so it's fine. And wherever you put it, you start laughing. Any rough spots, take as much as you want.
I swear that.
Oh, so like, oh, now it's shampoo apparently. Oh, very good. Very good. Yay. Yoop. Oh, say, okay, put your hands out in front.
Okay.
Take a nice deep breath in and smiling. Breathe in. Smiling, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, and let it out. Ha. Again, breathe in, arms overhead, breathe in. Smiling, hold it, and weave it out this time. And one last time, breathe in. And just giggle it out.
Love your face.
Ah, whew. Now, how do you feel?
Yeah, good, good. Cheeks
Yeah.
hurt.
Yeah, right. Those are the laughter
Yeah,
muscles. Same if your belly hurts. Those are right, because our diaphragm is attached to all of our organs. So
yeah,
when we're laughing full on, ha 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 ha, without jokes or comedy, without our logical mind, we're just breathing
yeah.
into our belly, big Buddha belly, breathe in through your nose, and then you exhale with a sigh. And when we sigh, so I said I did this deep dive. As a laughter yoga teacher, I bring tapping, qigong, brain gym with because laughter is complementary medicine. It goes with everything and then changes everything.
Yes,
Yay.
yes.
Youpee. How wonderful. So I do all these like in my club. I actually have a free club on Tuesdays if anyone wants to come, if I could plug that.
You can, most
Yeah,
definitely.
it's 9:30 a.m. on Zoom, 30 minutes of super fun self-care. I incorporate tapping, brain gym, qigong, and it's me and my husband and I. It's mostly me, and then he leads part of it. And I teach leaders. So in my club, when people take the training, they can come to my club and practice. So they're in a safe space. My audience is so beautiful. I get about 25 people from around the world. It's
Oh,
four
wow.
years. 4 years I've had my
Wow.
beautiful club. And it's so wonderful because when I got trained in 2016, um, I said, universe, I don't want to have a free laughter club. I do enough for free. Okay, so I didn't. I kept getting paid gigs to do laughter. I was going into long-term care, laughing with people with dementias, and it's not about jokes or comedy. It's like
Mm,
music. We remember when we're laughing. Ah, ha, 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 ha. We're like, I don't, oh, what's happening? I don't know why I'm laughing, but I feel great, right? We're not in our head, we're in our body. It's so beautiful. Our body's having a party.
right,
And talking about self-care, it's the ultimate. It's the best medicine. So we just gotta laugh and be free, be childlike and at peace. And for a moment, it brings us right to the present. When we're laughing, we're not thinking of that thing we have coming up or that
right.
stupid thing we said yesterday, or, we're not thinking at all. It's not a great survival strategy because when we're laughing full on, our knees get weak. We couldn't run
Yes.
away if we couldn't run
Even
away
if
even
we
if we had
wanted to.
to. And we can only laugh full on when we feel safe.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yes.
I did
So
not know that.
yeah, so right. Otherwise, it might be a guarded laugh. Like you might see something funny and laugh, haha, like at a joke or something, but it's not, then it's conditional and it's not just free flowing. In a laughter club, the idea is that you start with some warm up, you do some deep diaphragmatic breathing because it's a cardiovascular workout. So you're laughing all the while, warming up, and the grand finale is a laughter meditation. And it's not being still, thinking about your thoughts. No, it's laughing full on. like a fountain. You're all warmed up. Now's your time.
Yeah.
I have rock hard abs from laughing.
Oh, yeah, because you do use those muscles like crazy.
Right? So the
Yeah.
the grand finale is the laughter meditation, and you laugh, and it's like a fountain. You start with gradient laughter, ha ha ha. It doesn't take long before you're laughing full on, ha ha ha, and you're especially in the Zoom room, you have a gallery and everybody is looking at you. And if you come on a regular basis, you see the same people, and
Oh,
it's
good.
so beautiful. It's really magic experience. So I would encourage everyone to
Yeah.
come and check it out. It's free.
So for those who were worried when I had my arms up and started shaking them, it's like those bat wings are going to take off. Let's just laugh about it.
Wee! Maybe it can be
There you go.
just be flapping away.
Look at them
Woo!
really go.
Uh,
Be
it's
a
so
good way to
fun.
get those
Oh,
strengthened up.
it's a beautiful thing. It really is a beautiful yeah, and the effect of laughing changes how we feel going
Yeah.
forward for the day. And you might sleep better after a
Yeah.
laughter session. And right now, in the world that we're living in a perpetual state of stress. We know this.
Yes.
Afraid
Yes.
about what's tomorrow. We're anxious. We're not fully present. We're just always worried about things. Yeah, things again, the consumerism. So laughter, so my goal is to help people like can of worms. I want that to be a good thing, like can of worms. Yay. I want joy to be our new habit.
Yes.
What if we turn it around? We're in the stress track. What if we spiral up instead of like getting down the rabbit hole? What if we go, I don't know, what if we go up to the eagle's nest instead? We go,
There you go.
spiral up and talk about good things and surround yourself with good things and high
Yes.
vibration people. It's just energy. We've heard it before. It's just energy. When we're
Yeah.
sad, we're vibrating, we're not moving fast, we're looking down. I want people to take up space, look up, because when we
Yeah.
take up space, our body has more energy. When we're tired,
Absolutely.
oh, I'm too tired to go for a walk. Go for a walk.
Yep.
Because then
Do it
you'll be like,
anyways.
oh my gosh, I feel good. I got some fresh. Oh, I saw a bird. I don't know. I
Yeah.
saw a squirrel. Yay. I don't know.
I asked my husband if he got the mail today. He came home early because he's really fighting a bad cold. And he goes, no, because I know when you take your walks, you go out there. And it's like, okay, so I need to get my walk in today. Go get the mail. Because my mailbox is a quarter of a mile away. It's a long walk. It's not just out the door and back in. It's
Right.
it's quite a ways, but it makes a huge difference. Huge difference in my day when I do that.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
And just doing
And I
one
take my
thing.
glasses off so you get
Oh, I love
the
it.
indirect sunlight in your eyes. That was when my doctors told me to do that. And a huge difference in my life when I do those things.
Right? The thing is, when we feel good, we stop doing the self-care.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Right? We're like, oh, I don't have time for everything, so I can cut me out. I'll
Oh
just
no,
go
don't
and
do that.
don't,
Yeah.
right? I don't have time to go. I don't go to the gym, but whatever the thing is for the self-care. People often give that up. And then once we give it up enough days, we get out of the habit of that. And
Yes.
then something else takes its place. Like there's no void. We feel guilty when we're just sitting and doing nothing, but we're meant to
But you
rest.
need to do that. Yeah, your body needs rest. Your brain needs rest. You actually get more clarity later. You can get the answer to the things that have been bothering you. You can start finding out things, but you've got to clear that mind. You've got to give your body time for rest. When you rest, when your body is at rest, it's healing itself. It's producing all of those good things you need so it can repair itself. And we need to do that. Even if we have to schedule it into our calendar, schedule it into our
Mhm.
phones, I have to do self care and make it something you really enjoy, even if it's just I'm going to take a nap because I go from 4:30 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night and I'm tired. So go take a nap. Take a
Take a
nap
nap.
outside. Get
Who
those
said?
negative ions in on you.
Ah, so good, right? We're living by other people's guidelines. Like who wrote the
Yes.
book on us? We did.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
we know what we want.
Yeah.
But many people haven't even taken the time to know what they want. When you
Yes.
really delve into somebody and you ask them, what is it that you want?
Yes.
They have trouble verbalizing what it is that they really want, like their deep desires. And I would really encourage
That's
people to take a moment and take more than a moment, take as long as it takes to figure out what you want, because it's your life. And once you
oh
figure it
yeah.
out, it's such so magic. My life is such a magic carpet ride. And it has always been that way. I was a people pleaser. I worked in an office for 20 years. I was a secretary, perfect job for a people pleaser,
Oh
right? Get
yeah,
me coffee.
definitely.
Okay, sure. Tell me what to do. I'll do it better than anyone because I don't want to lose my job, or I don't want you to
Yeah.
think bad of me, right? All those things. I'm over that. It's fine. And that, right, I was an entrepreneur my whole life. I didn't know, but I was. I just didn't know it. And then
Yes.
when I took on worms, like I didn't have repeat customers and whatever. I don't have a regular business like other people. And that's good. Like that's fine. My offerings are different. That's because my life is different. And I say yes to opportunities. And I'm going to write something about that, because saying yes, and not just yes, like if I don't want to go with someone, I'm not going to say yes, but to opportunities that present, I say yes, and I don't, and then I see what happens. Like people are so afraid. Like what happened? I was on a platform, and a photographer reached out to me, and she said, "Would I like to do this? I can't remember what it's called now, EDT or something. It's about doing trade. So they do something for you, and nobody pays, nobody gets paid."
Okay.
So she offered to do headshots for me for free. So I said, "Oh my gosh, yes." Because I had just got my hair cut and I was like, "Oh, I got to upgrade my photo. Isn't that great? Now I get a
Yeah.
free one. You be. Yay." So I went, but I had to go to another town. And when I told my friend, she was like, "Oh, who is that lady? What does she get?" And all the like all these questions. And I said, "She gets a beautiful old lady for her portfolio. Are you kidding me?"
There you go.
What do you mean, what does she get? She gets this.
Yeah. That's just enough.
I didn't even like, not that I didn't consider. I knew, like, yeah, she gets photos for her portfolio, and
hmm
I get a photo. Like it's great. And so, like, well, aren't you like, what if where do you gotta go? I'm going to her house. Oh, like all these things, like we're so skeptical.
Yes.
And not
Yes.
me, I'm not. I'm so open. Maybe I could be a little more discerning sometimes, but I'm divinely guided, so I trust. If
Yeah.
it doesn't
That's a
feel
big thing right
right,
there is trust,
if it
and
doesn't feel
trust
right,
yourself too.
yeah,
Yeah.
like people think it's indigestion. Like, oh, what is that? That's you talking to
It's
you.
just yeah.
Right? I ask. I'm totally connected. And I'm like, is this for me? Okay. Then
Right.
I say yes, right? Yeah, like, and saying yes, I've had the most unique opportunities. I chose media as my marketing strategy back in '02. And I've had over 300 articles, TV, radio, documentary. Yes, I have a unique topic, worms in the house, right? But I'm not
Yeah.
shy. When I'm at a show and I see media, they have the badge, they have the camera, whatever, they're media. Right?
Yeah.
If they walk by my booth without stopping at my booth, oh, I chase after them. Like,
Oh,
and I'll have
nice.
a handful of worms, like, oh, you forgot me. And of course, the video person can't, it's so compelling to video the worms, right?
Oh,
Wow, what a great
yeah.
subject. And it's unique. Anyway, so because of that, I had the opportunity. I was on Twitter when it was Twitter, even without a cell phone, right? I'm active on
Yeah.
social media. And I had a tweet deck set up. I can't even tell you what it is today, but it was a way that you can, you know, set up columns. And when somebody talks about your topic, you know about it. So somebody asked, what happens to red wiggler worms in the winter? And I was like, oh, I know. So I go to their profile. Who's this guy? Oh, he's a radio host in Chicago. What? Right? Fifth largest market in North America. Yoop. He's my guy. And then I look him further. He writes for a gardening magazine. I'm like, oh my God. So I write back right away, because that's the thing. You gotta
Yeah.
respond right away. Don't wait. That's what people do, is they wait, they think about it. They're like, oh, it's not perfect yet. Well, just do it now because you'll
Yeah.
forget,
Yeah. Or
right?
it's never going to be perfect.
It's
It's
never going to
never
be
going
perfect.
to be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I write, oh, I know what, I sent him an email. I didn't do it on Twitter. I didn't want everyone to see that I was responding. So I sent him an email and said, on Twitter, you post the question. So I said, here's what happens. And it was January. And I said, oh, I'd love to be a guest on your show, right? Because then you got to ask for what you
Right.
want too. So I said, I wanted to be a guest. So I said, I would love to be a guest on your show. Like, what do you talk about in a gardening show in January in Chicago? He
Talk
wrote
about the
back, wow,
worms.
this is so great. He said, indoor composting with worms. We're like, this is a perfect, he said Wednesday, or no, it was a Sunday show. So I was on the air for an hour, call in show in
Wow.
Chicago. Wow. Like that's an opportunity that, I jumped on it. I got the opportunity. So beautiful. Like, and I've had many of those because that's where my antenna is. It's whatever
Yeah,
we're tuned into.
that's right. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good point is as entrepreneurs, we need to be tuned into what's going on around us, tuned into this is what I'm doing, this is where my energy is flowing, this is ways to do it. So we have to listen to what's out there and seize it. And you brought up about responding right away in this. It's actually really amazing. Uh, I don't know what you would call it, I guess a platform that I'm on for doing my podcasts and getting all of the information out and everything. It's just so easy. Boom, boom, boom. Plus, there's so much more to it. But in our talk today was exactly that. We want to get the responses right away to the text messages, to the phone calls, to the emails that come in. One way you do that's through AI. And just talking on about the different things. And it's like, let's have a conversation and go on because you don't want to miss those opportunities. Anybody wants to find out more about it, please get a hold of me and I'll definitely give you all the details. And there's not that much to know. It's just such a, I've really been surprised with it. It's been a really great platform to go to. But you're right. We need to get a hold of him. We don't want to wait. You can't be perfect. There is no perfect.
Mm.
If you keep trying to be perfect, you're not going to get it. It's never going to get out there. So what do they say? Get it out there messy, and you can clean it up along the way. But
Yeah.
at least it's out there, and at least you're doing something with it, and it's getting a response.
Right. That's it. Yeah. I think, well, perfectionism is a tactic. It's kind of like procrastination. It's
Yeah,
a stalling tactic, right? Like, oh, not
yeah,
yet. It's like, well, when then?
yeah, yeah.
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 So fun.
And there is times that you have to get, you have to get things a little bit in order before you
Mm.
go, but you can still go part way done and say, hey, this is what I've got going on. It's like the book, right away. I let people know, all right, we're going to do the giving book. Here it comes again. It's not going to be ready until this date. Well, it'll probably be longer because, there's certain parameters we have to meet. But I don't start telling people, okay, I want the book done in November 22nd, today.
Mm.
So I don't let them know November 22nd I want it done. I start right away. And it's like, these are things we're going to have to know. These things we're going to have to put in it. And then as things come in, we take care of it and we keep going. You don't just automatically get your book. You have to write it. You have to go through the processes. Same thing when you're doing your business. You don't automatically have the finished in. Somebody said to me, you have
Mm.
to. Oh, I know. We were watching or listening to Jim Rohn, and he says, you already have the house built. You've built it in your mind. If you're just out laying bricks and saying, somebody says, what are you doing? And he goes, well, I don't know. I'm just laying bricks. It's not automatically going to be a house. You already have it in your mind. You see it completely done.
Mm.
You have your business in your mind. You've got that vision that's there. And you got to start letting people know because somebody says, hey, I got a pile of bricks over here I'm not using. Do you want them? You can have them, they'll help you through there. And then someone says, say you're laying those bricks, but did you know if you use this type of mortar, it's better for it and it'll help them make them sturdy, and I've got mortar over here. So all these things start happening, but they can't happen if you don't say anything, if you don't let people know that it's there, if you don't start putting something out there.
Mm.
Um, my book would never be done if I waited until today to say, okay, I want this giving book done today. So send me everything in. Is anybody going to send me anything in this, on the day? No, I still
Right.
got stuff coming in. I wanted it done at the end of October, but more people are still sending things in. And it's everything about this book is giving. So I'm giving them a spot for their voice to be heard for that one thing they wanted to do. Maybe they don't have a story that's long enough for a whole book, but it can be in this book. A
Mm.
poem, maybe they don't normally write poems, but they write poems at home where nobody knows that they write poems. Here's a
Right.
great place to have it out there without have to put out your whole poetry that's there. So it's
So
all of
good.
these steps that go in on there, and it's beautiful to watch the process, isn't it? To see how it progresses. And there you were 10 years and you're thinking, oh, wow, 10 years is not where I want it. Oh, I'm just going to quit and go on. No, you say 10 years. Okay, this isn't exactly where I want it to be. I want it to be here. Now, what can I do? What's been going on? And all of a sudden you realize, oh, I haven't been listening to the people. I haven't been listening to what they want. So, yeah, you bring up a lot of really good points for entrepreneurs. And that's what we like here about Wisdom on the Front Porch is we're sharing all of that wisdom. We're sharing the knowledge and the insights of how things can work better for us.
Yahoo! Yay! You.
Yay. This battery's going.
Yay! I'm gonna make an exercise. I'm gonna do
All right,
bat wing.
the
I'm
bat
gonna
wing
do bat
exercise.
wing exercise.
Get your own air conditioners going there.
I'm writing that down. That's hilarious.
All right. Oh, I have so much fun with them. You know, I'm doing a lot more working out now, especially since I overdid it the other weekend on my back and it's keeping me from sleeping. And it's like, no, okay, that's it. I've procrastinated long enough, exercises every day and get those bat wings done. And then it's like, well, then I can't do this and I can't make jokes with it and have fun. And if you've got something, have fun with it.
That's
don't
it.
be embarrassed by it. Yeah.
That's it.
Turning into something wonderful. Life is too short to be sad. It really is. And for those who are wondering, yes, I do get sad. I get that winter sad. I have to take extra vitamin D. I've got the lights that I use.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is because I don't get out as much. Excuse me. And I fight allergies. But thank you, Cathy. How can people get a hold of you?
Oh, probably I'd like to send them to my laughter page, even though we talked a lot about worms.
Yeah.
It's cathysclub.com. Cathy with a C. CATHYS and then club.com.
Nice. That sounds wonderful. And please get a hold of her. She's just a wonderful, amazing person. Always ready to help out, to give a smile, to listen. You know, it's important to do that. So yes, go to cathysclub.com, do some laughter yoga, find out about worms. Maybe we should write a book about worms in the house. That sounds like such a fun kid book, doesn't it?
Right? I thought the worm that only had 4 hearts would
there
be a
you
great
go.
children's book.
4 instead of 5. What happened to my other heart?
So
Okay,
fun.
well, we'll talk with you later. Cathy, thank you so much for being here. And thank you, our audience, for learning about worms in the house, a can of worms, laughter yoga, and enjoying life. We'll see you next time on Wisdom on the Front Porch.
Thank you for joining us today on Wisdom on the Front Porch with your host, Ellis Kirkpatrick. You can find us on our website, wisdomonthefrontporch.com, see previous episodes of the podcast, and view issues of the magazine. Did you know you can submit questions, leave reviews, or suggest topics? You can also tell us where your favorite front porch location is and what it means to you. We hope you gain value and insight from today's or previous talks. We appreciate your support for us so we can continue to provide value and expertise to you and others. Subscribe to Wisdom on the Front Porch magazine and join in next week when we bring you another great insight into the world of entrepreneur culture and lifestyle. Make today a great day. Always believe that something wonderful is going to happen.